to my next video on Vedic astrology. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the effects of Sun if it happens to be in your 11th Bhava. For this purpose, I'm going to use only the Bhava chart. Does this mean that you can do away with the Rashi chart? Rashi chart is the most important chart in your horoscope, and the Rashi chart will let you know if the Sun is exalted or debilitated or in its own sign like in Leo or Simha. All this is to be known only from the Rashi chart. Only for the counting purpose, we use the Bhava chart. In case you do not know your Bhava chart, you may download Jagannatha Hora, install it, and feed in your date, time and place of birth, and within a matter of few seconds, you should be able to see your Bhava chart. So have your Rashi chart and the Bhava chart side by side, always.
There are 12 different possibilities for the Sun to be in the 11th house. The reason being that there are 12 different ascendants, or what is called as Lagna, the most important, the key to your horoscope. So depending upon where your Lagna is, from there you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4 clockwise on this chart. And here is one example where the Sun is in the 11th house. It may be here in the Rashi also, in which case you will have to read it as the Sun is exalted and also in the 11th Bhava. Another way you could have the same situation is the ascendant is Sagittarius or Dhanur Lagna and then the Sun here, in which case the Sun is debilitated and at its weakest point. Another way you could have the Sun in the 11th house is this, where you have Pisces as the ascendant, Meena Lagna, and then the Sun is in the sign of Saturn. So let's refer to Bhrigu Sutra and find out what sage Bhrigu has to say about the Sun in the 11th house. Before going into this, I would like to tell you that most planets give very good results in the 11th house because the 11th house is the house of gains. Sage Bhrigu says Bahudhanyavan if the Sun is in the 11th house. Dhanya actually means grains. At the time when astrology came about, your wealth was usually measured the amount of grains you have with you. Bahudhanyavan. In his 25th year, he will acquire conveyances. Pancha Vimshati Varshe Vahana Siddhi. Throughout the book Bhrigu Sutra, you find such rules suddenly coming out of nowhere, without any reference to Vimshotri Dasha, without reference to what Dasha you are going through or what Antar Dasha you are going through. Something has been stated. 25th year, we don't find any logic or any basis for why the 25th year has been picked up, but it is better not to question a very ancient classical textbook. But in my experience, I have found that these things happen provided the 25th year also the person is going through a very good Dasha and Antardasha, and most probably if it is related to conveyances, it will surely be a turning point in that person's life because he's likely to buy a very expensive car. By the use of his wealth and diplomatic talk, he will be able to acquire more wealth. He will suffer from a serious kind of fever and will have cordial relations with his employees. If the Sun is with a malefic, he will incur a lot of expenditure and will be without any conveyance. Throughout Bhrigu Sutra, you find opposite conditions being set for the same planetary position, and that is what I always refer as conditions apply. Here he says if the Sun is with a malefic. Let's introduce a malefic like Saturn along with the Sun. So here he says if the Sun is with a malefic, he will incur a lot of expenditure and will be without any conveyance. This is what I often refer as conditions apply. If the Sun was alone and not influenced by even a benefic or a malefic, whatever we have said so far must surely happen. But it gets altered the moment the planet has some other relationship. In the same way, a human being, his nature would get altered by the company that he keeps. If the Sun is in his own sign or is exalted, he will have immense wealth. So let's remove Saturn from the association and then get back. So here is a condition where the Sun is exalted, and another way you could have this condition satisfied is this position where the ascendant is Libra or Tula Lagna and the Sun is in its own sign Leo and also in the 11th Bhava. Then Sage Bhrigu says the Sun in his own sign He will have immense wealth. Then he adds one more point. If the sun is in conjunction with the Lord of the fourth house, he will have sources of income at many places. Now, this is a very interesting point. And will acquire conveyance and will be very fortunate. But it's very difficult to find such combinations because take this example, in which case Saturn is actually the Lord of the fourth house. He owns this house, fourth and the fifth house. And then here he's saying that if the sun is in conjunction with the Lord of the fourth house, then I have to shift it here. In which case, earlier on, he had already said if the sun is afflicted by Saturn or any malefic, then it is negative. So this condition does not apply in all cases. Let's do another example where this is applicable. This is a situation of the sun being in the 11th. And then he says, if it is conjunct the Lord of the fourth house. The Lord of the fourth house is this particular house which belongs to Venus. You can see the word Venus here. And it is ruled, the sign is Taurus. And the owner of that sign is Venus. And this Venus, if it happens to be here, then the person is supposed to be blessed with income from many sources, from many places, and will acquire conveyance and be fortunate. So let's discuss what other classical books say. This is going to be brief. Brihat Jataka by Sri Varamira, the book says, if the sun is in the 11th house, the person will be born wealthy. It's a very good combination. It may be that Sri Varamira is referring to the sun being auspiciously placed. Faladipika, another classical textbook, says the native will be wealthy, long-lived and happy. He will have command over many persons, that is, he will be of high status. The sun is a high status planet. The sun is the government, the king, the ruler. So obviously he is relating it to all this. Saravali, another classical textbook, says that the native will accumulate wealth, will be powerful, will hate others, will be without servants, will stick to his words, and will be successful in his ventures. You find some contradictions here. Maybe the negative part has to be associated with a negative sun. And what we mean by negative sun is if the sun is afflicted by malefics or is debilitated or in the sign of a malefic. When within the same text you find two different statements, you will have to apply it according to the conditions in the horoscope. Chamatkar Chintamani says the native will acquire wealth from the king, government. Today I would say it is multinational company. And possess many kinds of wealth. He will destroy his enemies by his valor, but will be unhappy in the matters of children. All of a sudden a new point is being taken up. This may be because the sun is looking at the 5th house of children. But in general, as we conclude, we can confidently say that the sun in the 11th house is an advantage unless the sun is severely afflicted by natural malefics.
I hope you have gained some knowledge in Vedic astrology by watching this video. And in case you have any doubts, please type them out in the comment section. And whenever I find the time, I'll answer them for you.